Hello everyone, if you're new here, welcome. If you're not new, welcome back to Fatma Z Archives. My name is Fatma and I love talking about books. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing some tips and tricks to get out of a reading slumps. These tips were tested and approved by me. I will also be recommending a few books that personally helped me slowly fall back in love with reading whenever I felt that reading slump coming into my life. Before we get started, I just want to say that I fully believe that reading should be enjoyable and that we shouldn't force ourselves to read. However, that being said, I do believe that there's a middle ground to that, especially if you're a seasoned reader or if reading is your main hobby. In 2024, I went through a 6-month reading slump. I know, scary and terrifying. And during that reading slump, I could barely read 2 pages, let alone finish a whole book. But in 2025, I started trying out these tips that I'm gonna share, and they completely changed my relationship with reading. I learned how to build a healthier and more fun reading routine, and it ended up with me reading 63 books last year, which is a lot for my standards because the year before I only read 5. Tip number 1, go back to your roots. As much as I love book spaces like Book Talk and Bookstagram, I think sometimes we all need to step away from the algorithm and go back to libraries and bookstores. My university's public library has a fiction section where I love to wander through whenever I'm in a reading slump and don't feel like reading the books that I have at home. I take my time there. Sometimes I'll read a few pages, sometimes I'll ask the librarians for book recommendations, and I do the same thing in bookstores. Every now and then I'll even try to buy a book without reading a single online review. You can always ask the staff for recommendations, librarians, booksellers. They give the best book recommendations ever. And when I get home, I am eager to start this book and I want to read it. Tip number 2. Read shorter books. I read a lot of fantasy, so most of the books that I read are like 500 to 800 pages long. But when you're in a reading slump, committing to a 500 pages book can feel impossible. And honestly, the pressure alone can make you avoid reading altogether. And I truly feel like shorter books can take that weight off. One of my favorite books last year were Walking Practice by Dalky Min and A Short Stay in Hell by Stephen Elpeck. Both of these books were like very short. I think that Walking Practice was like 150 pages and A Short Stay in Hell was 100 pages, and I loved them so much. And I feel whenever I finish a short book, it reminds you that you can still read. I know, it sounds crazy. I feel like it rebuilds my confidence as a reader without turning reading into a chore. Tip number 3. Switch genres and let yourself experiment. I feel like sometimes a reading slump isn't about not wanting to read, but it's about being bored with what you've been reading. If you've been sticking to the same genre for months or even years, your brain might just need something different. I think we forget as readers that we're allowed to evolve. The genres that you loved at one point in your life might not be what you need right now. And that's okay. Trying something new, whether it's fantasy, romance, thrillers, or maybe nonfiction, or even graphic novels. And don't listen to those people who tell you that graphic novels and manga are not books. Please just block them from your life. And I feel like trying and experimenting can make reading feel exciting again. Experimenting takes the pressure of finding the perfect book and turns reading into exploration instead. And sometimes all it takes is one unexpected new favorite to pull you out of that reading slump and remind you why you loved reading in the first place. Tip number 4, abandon your TBR. I know, this one sounds scary, especially if you're someone who loves plans and lists, but hear me out. When you're in a reading slump, your TBR can quickly turn from something exciting into something that feels overwhelming. And in 2025, I always try to have a TBR and to have a list. And honestly, even whenever I posted on social media that I'm reading a certain book, suddenly that desire to read that book vanishes from my brain. I suddenly hate it and I don't want to finish it. I don't know if it's a jinx or if it's something, but I did discover that I'm a big mood reader. Reading slumps aren't the time for rules and lists. I'm gonna be honest with you. So letting go of your TBR, even for a short moment, can make reading feel spontaneous again and fun again, instead of another task that you have to do on your to-do list. Now I'm gonna be sharing some books that personally got me out of reading slumps last year. I talked about them before in this video, and it's A Short Stay in Hell by Stephen Elbeck and The Walking Practice by Dolkimin. These are two short books, but they're very, very good. And the book that got me out of that 6-month reading slump is Yellow Face by Araf Kwang. Now, did I love the whole book? No, I have some criticism about it, but I am forever grateful for this book because it got me out of a reading slump. Another book that got me out of a reading slump is The No-Show by Beth O'Leary. This is a romance with a mystery twist. It's about 3 women who got stood up on Valentine's Day by the same guy. And that's it. That's the video. If you liked it, make sure to subscribe and like. And if you have some tips on how to get out of a reading slump or some book recommendations that helps you out of a reading slump, please don't hesitate to talk about them in the comments. Stay safe and happy reading.